Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining my Buddhism sharing meeting today. Now, I'm going to share with you two very powerful experiences. So today's meeting may be a bit long, so please bear with me and you will not regret it at the end. All right, so the title of our meeting is called The Benefits of Gratitude. So I'm going to share with you an experience by a Hong Kong member, and I just wonder if you can grasp the messages behind this experience, all right, which is very, very important in our practice. All right, I'm going to quote. Here I start. He says, I really want to thank the Go Hansen for having the opportunity to share my experiences with you all. During a month in 2008, I was recovering from a very bad illness which weakened my health. One day, I received a call and was told by my company that I was required to take 4 professional examinations within a month and a half. I needed to use the studying skills I acquired from my university days in order to succeed. I was a straight A student even in university. However, I have not done any studying for over 10-20 years. I had no confidence at all in passing the examinations in one shot. If I failed all the examinations, it would affect the company's development. I once knew a Japanese man who had taken these kinds of exams over 10 times during his 3 years as CEO, but failed them all. Finally, he gave up and went back to Japan. I felt very disturbed, especially when I still have not fully regained and recovered my health. I had a sudden impulse to see my auntie, who knows a lot about SGI. I went to my sister so she could take me to see my auntie, who is my late father's old colleague. Although I have not seen her for quite a while, my sister still keeps in touch with her. Somehow, I found out that auntie is a member of SGI. Previously, I knew very little about SGI. Well, maybe just a little, but never had the time to get in depth. Therefore, this time, I want to understand more. Auntie told me a lot about SGI. I was astonished because SGI Buddhism is very different from all the other kinds of Buddhist practices I came across. It teaches me to be energetic and aggressive when facing one's life. In the past, I was searching for meaning in life through Catholicism, Christianity, and other Buddhist practices. But all these movements were too vague, and I couldn't see any changes happening. I went to my first SGI meeting on June 11th. I was very surprised that the members had so many different experiences. Whether they were old or young, I heard the middle school student talking about her experience concerning the examination she took. She said, at first, she thought she had chosen wrong answers, but it turned out that they all were correct. After I heard that, I was deeply impressed. Somehow, it seemed that the Go Hansen was talking to me and wanted me to hear this particular experience to boost my confidence. I had more faith in taking the future examinations, although my mind was still not very peaceful. Regardless of the tight schedule and the limited time frame, and with only 1 week's time to prepare, my company arranged one more exam, a law exam, for me to take. Unfortunately, both examination dates fell on the same day. At the same time, there was a multinational company which wanted to hire me and requested me to take 2 internal assessments in a short amount of time. I panicked because I didn't have a clue about what I needed to do. Suddenly, I remembered Auntie and thought she might be able to help. I told her about my difficult situation. She immediately introduced me to a senior SGI member that evening. The senior member taught me how to chant and shared a lot of her own experiences with me. The next day, she told me about other people's experiences and also advised me to be aggressive with this Buddhism. She said that in order to receive good, fortunate results, one must constantly 1. Chant a lot daily to open one's wisdom. 2. Share this Buddhism with others and teach them how to chant. 3. Attend many SGI activities and keep learning about this SGI Buddhism. 4. Remind oneself of human revolution. She also told me if I kept on doing so, I would not just only pass the difficult examinations. I could even go further. She said, Go Hansen is very powerful. Many great, unimaginable things could happen along the way if we work hard. A lot of other kinds of good fortune would also come. After I heard that, my confidence instantly increased tremendously. I increased my daily chanting, and I felt that I calmed down a lot more than before. I immediately taught my wife, my daughter, my maid, and my good friends how to chant. After lots of chanting, my studying speed was as fast as when I was studying in university. I must say, thank you, Go Hansen. I did not have sufficient time to prepare for the examinations. I chanted sincerely to the Go Hansen to give me more wisdom, so the materials I study for would be useful for answering the questions on the examination. Thanks to the Go Hansen. Amazing arrangement. It is exactly what I had wished for. All answers in the examination were what I had prepared for. In fact, the night before the examinations, I chanted until 3 in the morning before I went to bed. The next day, I was still very energetic when I faced the examinations. I asked the senior member to chant for me, and my wife also accompanied me to examinations venue so she could chant for me. During lunch break, I still had 10 questions to prepare for the law examination. Since there was very little time until the exam was about to start, I could only pick out 5 questions to prepare for. Needless to say, you can all imagine the outcome. And that was 4 out of 5 questions I revised for appeared in the examination paper. I burst into tears once I knew I passed all the examinations, including the 2 internal assessments from the new company. This astonishing result instantly brought me back the confidence I used to have when I was young. Before I knew the existence of SGI, I spent so much time and effort on feng shui, picking out the right dates for different events and placing different things in lucky locations. Who would have thought that I could have passed all the examinations simply by chanting daily, sharing the Buddhism with others, and revising? Whenever I found the right direction, including religion, I would persistently pursue right to the end. I always chant, no matter how tired, how disappointed, or how smooth the day was for me. Because of this, someone once said that I'm a madman. But one cannot see their negative karma. One tends to forget or become reluctant to chant because they think it is unnecessary. Nevertheless, I would chant until it's my last breath, because I believe that the Go Hansen would always arrange the best for me. I would have unexpected and amazing experiences to share with others. All the good fortune would come along the way. With my continuous chanting and Kosen Rufu, once again, the Go Hansen protected me. One afternoon in the summer, when the temperature was above 34 degrees Celsius, I went to jog. I thought that this could gain back my confidence and physique when I was young. The next day, the whole family went for a swim in a swimming pool. I felt unwell, but I did not go see a doctor. I was carrying my daughter, about 20 pounds, in my arms while I was stepping into the swimming pool. Somehow, I slipped and fell. I could not use my hands to support the weight of both my daughter and myself. Therefore, I fell on my bottom with a boom. My wife came to my rescue immediately. Her face was pale with fright. She put me back up at once and examined the area around my spine and back. She found 2 blue-black bruises, which were as big as 2 palms. Thanks to the Go Hansen, I didn't feel any pain. She felt relieved after asking me several times and making sure that I was all right. I finally decided to go to the doctor the day after. I thought I had the flu and decided that my bruises should be checked. The doctor said that I actually suffered from a heat stroke about 2 days ago. He warned me, even if you were a policeman, you might not have been able to survive the heat stroke. Besides, you are a person who is chained to the office chair, a person who is not suitable for doing exercise under this weather. Regarding my back, thanks to the Go Hansen, the doctor said that the bruise was just 1 cm away from the caucus, which is the very bottom portion of the spine. If I hurt the caucus in a minor way, I will be required to attend a treatment in the hospital. And if the caucus was badly hurt, the consequences might have been very, very serious. When I look back, I really need to thank the Go Hansen. In the past, I always needed to see a doctor for anything. Once I fell from bed and my left leg was sprained. The other time, I had to fix an office chair, and then I sprained my waist. And I had to spend over 2,000 Hong Kong dollars on visiting Chinese bone setters. But now, even with this serious fall in the swimming pool, I didn't have any much damage. So when the world plunged into a recession last year, the boss from the old company still trusted me a lot. He gave me a promotion opportunity to be in charge of a new department, and he promised that I would be given a professional license in the company. A month before the financial crisis, there was a multinational company trying to locate me and hire me. This was a company which I wanted to join 3 years ago, but I received no response. However, after I made great efforts in practicing this Buddhism with an unfaltering spirit and accumulated enough good fortune, they finally contacted me. I was so surprised because I never expected that my CV could be found under the piles of paper, a mess on top of mine in 3 years. I wanted to reject the offer because I missed my old boss. However, the senior member wanted me to accept the offer from the multinational company so I could teach 4,000 people who are my subordinates how to chant. In the end, I left the old company and joined a new one. Before I left, the senior member said that I must teach the boss, together with the colleagues from the old company, how to chant. She said that the best departing gift that I could give was the Gohonzon. They might have negative karmas which appear in their lives later on, losing money, filing for bankruptcy, accidents, etc. And there is no better way to help them to eradicate their negative karma by introducing Nichiren Buddhism to them. We should not let any chances go by to teach people chanting, because it might be too late to save the ones we care about. When we see them tangled in their negative karmas, we would regret missing the opportunity to teach them how to chant. Now, although this meeting is going to be very long, I have to add on to what this member has said about teaching people to chant. I remember I told a lot of people about this experience. That was when I first joined. This is Lydia talking now and not the member's experience. When I first joined SGI, I went to a meeting and I saw a lady, an old lady member. She cried in the meeting. And she said that she lived in Taikushing, a very well established and well-to-do area. And next to her, there was a family, a husband and a wife and 2 children, a very well-to-do family. One day, she wanted to teach this family to chant. But on second thought, she said, well, they don't need this chanting because they are so well and so well-to-do and so happy. So she did not teach the family to chant. And you know what? When this family returned to China, visiting the grandmother during Chinese New Year, the gas stove exploded and the whole family died. So this lady member cried and cried in the meeting and said, I should have taught them chanting when I wanted to. It's my fault and now it's too late. So having heard this story, I myself would never miss a chance to teach people chanting. No matter under any circumstances, whoever would come to me and talk to me in a friendly way, I would teach them chanting. So I would not regret later on. Okay, let me go on with this member's experience. He said, fortunately, thanks to the Gohonzon's arrangement, I escaped my negative karma. After I left the old company, it was badly hit by the financial tsunami, resulting in the ability to open the new department which I was going to be in charge of. So if I did not leave the old company, I would end up jobless or being made redundant. Now in the new company, my investment suggestions and decisions have made tremendous impact on the company and the related personnel. Therefore, I cannot afford to make any mistake. I work very hard at my job and put a lot of effort in propagating this Buddhism. Thanks to the Gohonzon for giving me such incredible wisdom to complete certain financial analysis with the time frame. Even I feel as if it is absolutely impossible. I could always finish them without any delay. I can also manage and finish projects one after another without any difficulties. It is hard to chant when one is in a difficult situation, and it is even harder to chant when one is having a peaceful day. For me, whether it is a rainy or sunny day, whether the sun is rising or setting, chanting already became a crucial part of my life. Chanting is just like breathing, smooth and natural. In addition, it is like drinking water. Water looks ordinary, but it is essential and cannot be neglected. Because of chanting and the willingness to share this Buddhism with the others, one could then have countless amazing experiences and benefits to share with others. Seeing my daughter grow up happily every day makes me relate to my family, and growing up every day in SGI continuously, I would work very hard to propagate this Buddhism around the world and would try my best to create a valuable life. The minute I begin to chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo every morning, my daughter would run into my arms and chant with me for a while. After we finish our breakfast, we all go back to our own daily routines. I would continue to handle the busy work in the office every day and tackle any sudden problems which may occur. I always get to learn something new after overcoming different problems. After a day's work in the office, I go back home to spend a happy evening together with my family. And to me, this is good fortune. I work very hard to spread this Buddhism and often remind myself not to take such a good fortune for granted. I chanted daily and teach others to chant as well. Only by doing so, Go Honsen would give me wisdom, inspire me, initiate, and guide me to live a blessed life. Now looking back, if the Go Honsen did not protect me, I do not know what kind of misfortune or adversity I would be trapped in. We should all continue to propagate this Buddhism in order to improve others and our own lives, enabling everyone in the world to find true happiness. Start chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo right now. Unquote. So I don't know whether everybody here today would grasp the important message in this experience. Could you number the times he said, "Thank you, Go Honsen"? It is his attitude of gratitude and thank you to the Go Honsen that his life is becoming better and better. And this is the important message that I learned from his experience. And also his persistence, never give up his chanting. So I hope everybody would get the message and learn from this experience and then be able to get all the good fortune and live a happy life. Alright, the next topic I want to share is, how do I keep those closest to me see the value of our Buddhist practice? Answer: despite our best efforts, it can be very difficult to convey to our closest family members and friends the great value we get from practicing Nichiren Buddhism. Countless members, including SGI President Ikeda, have faced this similar problem. During his first visit to the US, a woman asked at the meeting how she could encourage her husband to practice Buddhism. President Ikeda responded, "It may be lonely being the only person practicing, but if you exert yourself diligently, your benefit and good fortune will extend to and be shared by your entire family. Your presence will be just like a huge umbrella, sheltering them from the rain. It is a mistake, therefore, to think that you and your family cannot become happy, because no one but you practice. Offering prayers for your family members to take faith in Nichiren Buddhism so they may become happy is definitely very important. But the most fundamental thing is for each of you to demonstrate the greatness of faith with your own life. If you continue to strive in faith as wives and mothers, growing as human beings and becoming sunny presence, overflowing with good cheer, wisdom, warmth, and consideration, then your families will naturally come to approve this Buddhism. Thus, to be loved and deeply trusted by your families is the first step for them to gain an understanding of the Soka Gakkai. Ultimately, our faith can work to protect and benefit our loved ones and our own behavior as a human being. The writings of Nichiren Daishonin determines how others perceive us, showing actual proof of faith through our character, way of life, and contributions at work and in the community is far more effective than simply explaining in words the merits of Buddhist practice. Additionally, President Ikeda offers, there is no need to be impatient or in a hurry. When I first joined the Soka Gakkai, my father disapproved of my practice. It is important to start with your own human revolution and make your inner Buddhahood shine. It is also vital to cherish your family. Though he never took up faith, President Ikeda's father saw his son use his Buddhist practice to transform his life, and therefore supported him with pride, developed a deep understanding of the Soka Gakkai, and had unfaltering trust in the second president, Josei Toda, as his son's mentor in life. Instead of being discouraged when our loved ones don't understand or support our Buddhist practice, we can view these challenges as opportunities to chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, work on our own inner transformation, and cultivate harmonious relationships. This is the surest path to demonstrating the greatness of Nichiren Buddhism. Okay, I remember the advice given me by my, this is me talking now. I remember a guidance given by my senior member. She said, Lydia, you have to show your family members the actual proof of Buddhism. So whatever you say out of wisdom will come true. And you'll be very happy, very lucky and happy. So your families will be convinced that this Buddhist practice is really good for you and they will follow. Alright, so the next part of my sharing today is also very, very important, because I'm going to share with you the journey of my son's transformation. First, I'm going to share with you my son's letter or email to his sister long time ago. He says, Sis, here is how I feel at present, working at Starbucks. Now, I'm talking about like 15 years ago. Here is how I feel at present, working at Starbucks. I love what I'm doing at present and where I am at the moment. However, you are totally right in regards to my future. I have looked around for jobs. I don't mind starting small, but when I think that I can become a manager at Starbucks within six months, and in comparison to being a small potato at a big firm, which will take me months or even years to work my career up, I can't really justify myself in taking this step. Looking at bigger jobs, they are really out of my league in regard to skills. At this point, quote, please don't upset about this, unquote. I don't know what I want. I thought I have discussed with Mom about this, but obviously is not the way to approach my career. I am lost and confused again. Can you help me? Studying at uni, I developed an interest in museum management. Now, at Starbucks, I began to like managing a team and store, etc. I even have a silly little thought of opening up an art gallery cafe in the future. My thoughts ponder. I will chant now and will chant very hard from now on for a clearer vision for my future. But I have to think and act fast about it. Like you said, I'm too old for this. Love, brother. I think Kevin was about 25 at that time. Okay. Below, I'm sharing with you writing of the very powerful and touching experience given by Kevin in an SGI Gongshou study meeting 15 years ago. Reading his writing again today, I was so moved that my body began to shake, because I know I was the one who made him suffer. When I first saw his experience some 15 years ago, I didn't feel much. However, after my years of practice, I have become more caring and sensitive to other people's needs and feelings. I realize how wrong I had been as a parent. When Kevin was young, out of my love for him, I would do everything for him, not giving him any chance to express his likes or dislikes. He had to do everything as told. And when he did not meet my expectations, I would either criticize or scold him, without explaining to him why I felt this way. At one time, I even said, I think he was not able to clean a table properly. So I said, "You are stupid." Now, this is the worst thing we can ever say to anyone, because since then, Kevin has always looked down on himself, thinking he was stupid. I did not give him any compliments. I did not encourage him in any way, because this is the old way of the Chinese parents raising up their children. They want them to do well, but instead of encourage them, they scolded them and they criticized them. And I did not care to explain to him reasons why he can or cannot do certain things. Nichiren Buddhism teaches us that we must respect everyone, including our children. And we have to explain to them why they are not allowed to do certain things to help them grow, understand, instead of sulking and become rebellious. Because of the way he was brought up, Kevin did not have any recognition nor space to grow. He had no self-esteem nor ego. As a result, for a long time, even until he was 25 years old, he was still very lost and tried to find himself. Fortunately, because I've learned from SGI, I started to know how to coach and encourage our children. Thereafter, I spent 10 years trying to correct my mistakes and encourage Kevin. Now, I'm pleased to say that Kevin has become a totally different person. He is very confident, very capable, very responsible, very caring, and he's doing very well at his present job. And he's also managing a team, like what he had wished at the age of 25. His ability is recognized by his company, and he has been promoted twice. Therefore, I do hope that all parents who have heard my sharing today will learn from my mistakes, so your children will grow up into strong, determined, confident, caring, responsible, and happy people. Okay, now I'm going to share with you Kevin's writing. Quote, Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for coming tonight. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Yun Mei, Chung Hang, and all the leaders for giving me this amazing opportunity to share my experience in tonight's Gosho study. This Gosho study is about the Buddhist spirit of giving, like the king who gave his everything to save his nation from starvation, like Siddhartha Buddha, who gave everything he had to the beggars. This spirit inspired me, especially living in a very selfish world we are in right now. True compassion is what makes this world unite and harmonize as we reach out for others. This is also an essential Soka Gakkai value. I had never grasped this concept until recently when I really devoted myself to this Buddhism. And through the dedicated encouragement and support from my mother and other members, I have to say my life up till a year ago was the complete opposite to this value of giving. Very selfish, very shut down I was. Everyone around me suffered because of this. But what was depressing was it never occurred to me they were suffering as an effect of my selfish act. My spirit of not giving started, for as long as I can remember, happened when I was in Hong Kong when I was 15. I was in a phase which I called blind search for identity. Now, bracket. Here is me now talking. I have to add that his loss of identity was because of my tight control of everything he did as a child. So he had no esteem, or he did not even know who he actually was. He was none other than my shadow. That was me talking. Now I will continue with Kevin's writing. This was also the beginning of my very deluded life, where my world of hunger and animality dominated me. I studied high school at a private English-speaking school. There, I met many friends whose families were extremely rich. Coming from a strict family, with the rule of no luxuries and no designer branded names, my natural tendency was to envy and jealous of the designer labels, nice houses, cars, money that my friends had. To Mom, designer labels and luxuries should not be given to kids, which I never understood. Now again here I have to say, I should have explained to Kevin why I had made that decision, why I behaved this way. But I did not care to explain to him, okay? Alright, let me go on. I never understood why my friends got Prada pencil cases and I did not. My natural instinct had told me that I wanted it, so I would try every way to get it just to feel equal and connected with my with my friends. As a result, this made me very selfish, resulted in many arguments with my mother. The Gosho lecture says, we should not overindulge or limit ourselves by becoming merely self-indulgent or seeking only comfort. Comfort, after all, is transient and requires little creativity to achieve. I never understood this. Or worse, it never occurred to me that it was a problem. At that point, my life was a stream of external hindrance of earthly desires and desire for comforts. I just cannot stop searching as I wanted more. I never got to think and look beyond these desires and had very little achievements in winning my life. Vanity. What does it mean? Do they really exist? As my friends' network began to expand, which I was so proud of, I had the chance to meet some very interesting people. I thought it would be cool to meet people who smoke, who skip school. I thought it would be cool to hang out in clubs and pubs and get drunk. At that point in time, I thought I found my ego, my confidence, because those so-called friends would actually want me to be with them. I guess if I was a king at that point of my life, my nation will starve to death just to fulfill my desires. Delusions and over self-indulgence had never been stronger. I had lots of fun, but in return I received bad marks in school. Constantly being shouted by my mother and more. Bad causes and bad effect kept simultaneously appearing. Yet I did not know why, and most importantly, I didn't care. This state of hunger had further developed my selfish tendencies and a very shut-off personality that puts me and my close ones, especially my mother, in a state of hell. Unity and harmony were out of the question. In any case, as I kept leading my life within this state of hunger and animality, deep down, I was so proud of myself, as for some reason, I felt I had all the material possessions and good friends. School since then was not my priority. With my mother's chanting, I made it through school days, passing A-levels, and went to Canada to study at a university for 1 year. There, my life got worse. I was lonely and I became very depressed. I decided to quit school. After deferring my university studies, because I hated it, I went back to Hong Kong and found a job working as a guest relations officer at a 5-star hotel in Hong Kong. There, I was introduced to drugs and some hardcore partying by my so-called good friends, and I was out all the time. I can't say I was addicted, but I enjoyed it so much because I can escape to another world of illusions, and I felt very high, which gave me comfort and a boost of confidence. This all seemed helpful, especially I was in a state of hell and on the verge of breaking up a relationship. Tragically, it was my life of hunger continued to grow, where I spent money like mad with all the money I was earning. In the end, I spent more money than I earned, leaving me with debts which I walked away with and my mother had to pay off. That life which I was leading had overruled and overpowered me. But you know what? I really did not know what I was doing. I have been chasing something that I felt was right and made me happy. Now thinking back, there was nothing but delusions and emptiness. One hot summer in March 2000, my mother invited me to go to Sydney for a trip. My mom asked me to stay, seeing how bad my situation was. She wanted me to stay in Sydney. I stayed, but my partying years made me deluded, confused, even more naive, and most importantly, disappointed as those so-called good friends disappeared. I became introverted and scared about life and interaction. I also lost all my self-confidence. I just did not believe in anything, including myself and this Buddhism, which Mom had tried so hard to get me to believe in. Nichiren in the Gosho encouraged us to have conviction in our purpose in life and confidence in our actions when it is based on the mystic law. Well, I had, but not based on the mystic law, but on Starbucks. I had worked part-time at Starbucks while I was in uni, and after my master's degree, education and graduation. What Starbucks gave me was my confidence, friends and self-validation with all the accomplishments I had and gained. I was also promoted to be the manager of a store until the news broke out that Starbucks had to close over 30 shops in Australia. Nothing is permanent. In June 2008, I was made redundant along with other 600 employees. I could not be more devastated and disappointed than this. With all my loyalty with Starbucks, it literally had left me nothing except 1 month's salary as severance pay. That news had me emotionally, spiritually, and physically shattered. The question, just how exactly can they do this to me, pondered in my head. I cried and my confidence went back to zero. After 1 month, and when my severance pay was almost spent, I tried to gather myself together to start looking for a job. With very little chanting and preparation, of course. The very first job interview had me face the very important question which I have never dared ask myself in my entire life. That question by the interviewer was, "So tell me about yourself." I was speechless. I did not know how to answer this because I don't know anything about myself. Thinking back, my life was a blur of self-indulgence, self-blinding delusions. Who am I? What am I doing? My whole life was about searching from the outside. I had always hoped that somewhere someone will validate me. I had committed myself on the wrong things, which in effect made me incredibly disappointed and depressed. That very night, for once in 10 years, I picked up the beats and chanted earnestly to the Gohonsen. That very minute, it was like a sudden spark. It was like love at first sight. I came to first realize the connection of myself with the Gohonsen, something that was so powerful and truly fulfilling, and for once so new to me. For once, I realized that happiness and validation is all from within. I finally realized how material possessions do not last. From that time on, I chanted earnestly to the Gohonsen thereafter. Since then, there are some indescribable changes inside me. I started to open up to the environment without fear. In fact, a much more positive connection than before. My relationship with Mum, as an example, improved dramatically. It was like that life force that gave me so much energy and direction in life. From there, my faith continued to develop and deepen as I see conspicuous and inconspicuous benefits appear, including the offer of a new job that I have been chanting for since my redundancy, which I gained so much satisfaction of. And he is in this job since that time, over 10 years now, and he's doing very, very well. Okay, let me continue. What was more mystical was that we had a recruitment freeze the next day after my employment was confirmed. I could not thank the Gohonsen more. The inner transformation was incredible, not just because of this practice, but also my history, who made me who I am and what I am. Now I realized that it does not matter whether I know who Kevin is. What is important is that permanent transformation of Kevin. I just know that if I continue my faith in this Buddhism and my human revolution, everything will fall into place. This is the true positive cause and effect with value. A positive single moment that made the 3,000 realms just as positive. Unlike my past, there is now something inside me that made me want to give back, as I realized that life is lived without isolation, and that compassion creates harmony and unity. It is now I understand why the king, who mentioned in the Gospel, who would starve himself to death to help his nation, why Siddhartha gave his everything with sincerity to the beggars. Buddha nature of giving is essential in our everyday life, as everyone faces their own struggles. Now I truly see it. It is also that Buddha nature of giving which makes our own life more valuable and fulfilling. In the presence of selfishness, the experience of our daily struggles, I truly believe that chanting and the practice of this Buddhism can enable us to attain a state of happiness, value, and accomplishment. The Gosho says, the way to become a Buddha is nothing special. It simply requires effort towards our own development and a spirit to be ever victorious in our lives and to help others to become happy. This pretty much sums up my present life. I still have a lot of struggles to go through, but now I'm not as afraid as I have been because I have my greatest mentor, President Ikeda and the Gohonsen. I can turn to the Gohonsen when I'm afraid, when I lose self-confidence, and have low life state. I now know my mission is to relieve sufferings, just like the king for his nations. I will earnestly chant to the Gohonsen for strength, courage, wisdom, and most importantly, compassion to do so. Okay, so this is all the experiences I have to share. Now, Kevin has told me, the reason why I searched for this article is because Kevin told me last week when we had dim sum lunch that he had some good news to share. So this is why when I tried to find some articles for today's meeting, I came across this piece of writing which he did. So I'm going to leave the time now to the rest of you to share your thoughts and questions, and for Kevin to tell us about his good news. Thank you very much. Thank you.